Merry Clinchmas, Philadelphia. Merry Clinchmas. In a game where both teams were trying to gift wrap wins to each other, I guess the Eagles wanted it a little bit more. So, Jake Elliott kicks a go-ahead 48-yard field goal, 22 seconds on the clock, and then Derek Barnett's scoop and score seals the Eagles' 19-10 victory over the Raiders. They clinch home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. All right, so hooray, whoop-de-freaking-do. They clinch home field. Now let's get into this game and the slop show that it was. Now, I will start with a positive. We'll get into Nick Foles in a second, but I will start with one thing that I did like and I did notice. So I thought the defensive line balled out, and I liked what I saw out of Jim Schwartz's play calling on third down. I thought what we saw with the NASCAR package and Brandon Graham being lined up as a defensive tackle. This is something we've seen before, but Jim Schwartz went to it with regularity in this game. So Brandon Graham lined up as a defensive tackle, bringing the heat on third down, and it did get to Derek Carr. The Eagles defense did force 5 second-half turnovers, and this game at some points got atrociously ugly. There was a point in this game, I believe there were 3 turnovers in 38 seconds. I mean, that's just despicable. There was a point where Ajayi and Lynch traded fumbles. You had another point where Foles threw a pick, and then Jalen Richard goes and gives the ball right back to Philly. I mean, you had a team in Oakland that traveled all the way from west to east on Christmas night, playing for nothing, and this is the performance that we saw out of the Eagles. So very uninspiring, but getting back to what I saw with the defense. So Jim Schwartz, I liked what I saw with that. And the reason why I say that is you need to mask the deficiencies of the secondary as much as you can come playoff time. And you're going to have to get after quarterbacks, and you're going to have to bring the heat, and you're going to have to be aggressive, because I don't know how good Nick Foles is going to be in a playoff game. And again, we'll get to him temporarily, because I warned you guys last week, and you didn't want to listen to me. But all right, so Brandon Graham, I thought Chris Long and Vinny Curry, they were the 2 unsung heroes last night. Curry was unbelievable, really, and he's been an unsung hero all season long. He just gets paid too much money, but he really has taken a stride forward this season. And Chris Long, what can you say with the motor that he was playing with last night? That thing was revving. That thing was running hot. Chris Long had himself a great game, had another strip sack. So that was his 4th of the season. But if this Eagles team wants to win the playoffs, this defensive line, it's going to have to play like this each and every time out. I know they only had 1 sack, but that's because Derek Carr, that he's used to getting the ball out quick. But they were definitely disrupting his timing, especially on third downs, bringing pressure. All right, so let's move on to Nick Foles now. So we finished, let's see, what were his stats? He was 19 of 38, 163 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. All right, so here's basically what I saw. I'm going to have to watch the game again. I'm going to have to watch the All-22 again. But it seemed like he basically just locked onto Ertz and didn't really want to go through his progressions. So I looked at the final tally. Zach Ertz had 14 targets, and the rest of the guys, the next closest one was Nelson Aguilar with 7. Wide receivers combined to catch 5 passes for 40 yards. And this is something I've heard people complain about, the wide receivers not getting open. This actually isn't true. And again, I'll confirm this when I watch the All-22. I think what was going on was Nick Foles was straight up just looking at Zach Ertz the whole time. And he didn't want to go through his progressions. And he just locked on to Ertz. And he had 9 receptions for 81 yards at the end of the day, 14 targets. But the Raiders, they put Carl Joseph on Ertz, and I thought he did a really good job on him. And there were also a couple instances where Foles just straight up overthrew him at times. There was a third down where he ran, I believe, an out route, and he was just high with the throw. There were a couple times in the red zone where he was high. There was a time that Jeffrey, where he threw behind him. Jeffrey didn't even get a catch yesterday. So Foles threw behind him. It wasn't a good day from Foles. You know, he can be streaky. And we saw the bad side of Foles last night. And the reason why I wasn't really getting that high on Foles after the Giants game was, you know, I was willing to look past the 4 touchdowns. The 4 touchdowns look great. But when you looked at his work in between the 20s, he was locking on the one read, and that one read was getting open continuously and consistently because the Giants' defense stinks. It's terrible. They made Dak Prescott look great. So now this is a Raiders defense that isn't even that good. And this is discouraging moving forward, heading into the postseason, because you're going to see Minnesota. You're going to see a lot better defenses than Oakland. I mean, Oakland. This is like a top 5 worst unit. And Foles was struggling with the pressure. We saw the backpedaling come back again. Because last week I didn't see Foles really get pressured at all. So he had a clean pocket to work with. And I know that if you pressure Foles, that's a huge weakness of his. He had an under 40 passer rating when dealing with pressure in his last 5 games. This was prior to the Oakland game. And Oakland was getting to Foles at times. So if you take away Foles' initial read, he gets real slow going through his progressions. And we saw this, just real slow going through everything. And this is what we saw last night. And some of the things that I saw last week, I saw last night. And the 4 touchdowns that he threw last week, it hid some of the things that he was actually doing and some of the things that we failed to pick up on. So now we saw some of the bad things come to light. And, oh, my, we'll see what happens come postseason. But, again, going back to the targets. So when Carson Wentz was quarterback here, when he was quarterbacking, if you notice, he would like to get everyone involved and really spread the wealth and really spread the distribution. The targets were pretty much even, but in this one, I mean, Zach Ertz, 14 targets. The next closest one was 7. Torrey Smith had 5 targets. He only had 1 reception. So that wasn't evenly distributed. And as the game went along, Doug Peterson's play calling also got painfully conservative. Painfully. This was like last year's Doug Peterson. I don't even know if I saw a pass go 10 yards past the line of scrimmage. So I'll say this right now. I think Nick Foles should be playing against Dallas. I don't know if Doug has said anything during his press conference about that yet. I haven't checked out the press conference today yet, but I think he should play a half. I think he needs more reps with the wideouts. I think he needs as much help as he can before the postseason comes around, because that was an uninspiring performance, to say the least. So you look at the final stats: 19 of 38, 163 yards with a touchdown and an interception, sacked twice. So there we go. That's what we saw. The other thing that happened in this game too. So Eagles' second drive of the game, they go and they score a touchdown. They mainly used the ground game to get going. Jay Ajayi was used. He scored on a screenplay, 17 yards out. And there you go. So they predominantly ran the football on this drive. The running game was very successful in the first half. I wrote down 13 carries for 60 yards, I believe, something like that. And in the second half, only 8 carries for 17 yards, or something like 17 or 18 yards. So what Oakland was doing was they were putting 8 men in the box. They were daring Nick Foles to beat them, and he wasn't able to do it. Nick Foles was 1 of 10 on third down for 10 yards. Eagles as a whole, 1 of 14. Obviously, when Carson Wentz is in here, Eagles lead the league in third down. So that wasn't good at all. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to watch the All-22 film. I'm going to see what was going on. But some of the things that I saw last week were coming up again. And Just it wasn't good. Wasn't good out there. So hopefully, once the postseason comes around, I talked about a streaky Nick Foles. Hopefully, we get the good one because he didn't play with confidence. He didn't look good out there at all. I'm not going to sit here and yell about it because I got my yelling out last week. I was pissed at the defense last week, and there you go. So I'm not going to yell. I know some of you guys didn't like my yelling, so I'm going to keep it calm here. But I think Nick Foles needs the reps next week against Dallas. That's that. All right, so other things. Defense, they were getting bit by the double moves again. Jalen Mills got beat for a 63-yard touchdown by Amari Cooper. So that happened. Darby had a couple interceptions. Well, he had one interception. That was a big one. Patrick Robinson had an interception. That was following, I believe Curry had pressure on that play. Might have been Graham or Curry. But they were getting a lot of pressure with stunts, and Graham just lined up as a defensive tackle, just splitting gaps and getting to the quarterback, getting to Carr, and making him get the ball out sooner than he wanted. So the Sluggos beat the Eagles defense. I also thought they struggled with the run defense again. I didn't like seeing that. So the last month, the run defense has gone downhill some. Raiders, 33 total carries, 137 yards, 4.2 average. Lynch, 25 totes for 95 yards. So you did hold him. It's under 4 yards per carry, but 4.2 overall as a team. Derek Carr, 15 to 29, 140 yards with a touchdown and 2 picks. So that wasn't good for him. I don't know what the hell happened to Derek Carr this year. Jesus. The Raiders as a whole have been an abomination. That's been the surprise of the NFL to me. It's the Raiders. I thought they were ready to take a big leap this season, and it just hasn't happened. It just hasn't happened. But yeah, there you go. I did think Khalil Mack showed up to play last night, so he was able to pressure Foles on a couple occasions. So there you go. I think I've pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover. I'll take a look at some comments, see what you guys have to say. But yeah. Man. But yeah. All right. It was a good game just because now I truly know this team can win any type of game. We've won shootouts, we've won blowouts, we've won comebacks. The thing about this game looked like neither team wanted to win. I mean, just uninspiring play from both sides. This was the sloppiest game I've seen the Eagles play since that Week 2 Dallas game from Chip Kelly's final season. That's what this game reminded me of. And the defense knew they needed to step up because the defensive line, they were seeing what the offense was putting out there on the field. And I think the defensive line did rise to the occasion because of that. So we did see that. Let's see. I feel like penalties killed the momentum more than Foles' accuracy, like that 20-yard blunt run taken by Johnson. I don't agree with that, to be honest. I think Foles was just bad. He had a bad game. I hate the running back rotation, and Mills looked like 7th rounder he is the last couple games. Yeah, I mean, he just needs to stop biting on the double moves, stop biting on it. That's what it is with him. Just be a little bit more disciplined. Clement should get more touches. Foles held the ball way too long. Yeah, he can be slow going through his reads, and he does hold on the ball too long. He backpedals. See the thing that we saw last night, and this was something I wanted to see Foles. I wanted to see Foles and see how he handled pressure, and I wasn't sure if we were going to get pressure from the Raiders because I don't think their defense is that good. I know they have Khalil Mack, but who else is really bringing the heat for that defense? And Foles was pressured last night, and we saw some of the real bad of Nick Foles. How slow he is. He just doesn't get the ball out sometimes. And it was ugly. He doesn't handle pressure well. I'm worried about seeing the Saints in the divisional round. Yeah. Yeah. I'm worried about the Saints. Saints, I don't want to play the Rams now either. Foles is afraid to run as Ben Simmons is to shoot. I'm curious about that. I'm curious if he didn't run because the team kind of told him not to run following the Wentz injury, but there were definitely a couple occasions yesterday where he had a free first down if he just took off and he didn't take it. So overthrew Nelly could have been a touchdown. Well, he overthrew Nelly. He overthrew Ertz a couple times in the red zone, and he threw behind Jeffrey. So he let a couple. Foles is better at the short throws, though. Well, most quarterbacks can complete a 5-yard hitch route, but can you make? See, that's the thing was about this game was the Raiders were stacking the box, and Nick Foles. I mean, they're stacking the box, and Nick Foles isn't throwing anything past 10 yards. This is gonna be very easy to defend if Doug Peterson remains this conservative. I don't know what. FedQ, what did the Raiders do coverage-wise to shut down the receivers? To be honest, Sean, there were times the wide receivers were open, and Foles wasn't locating them. I don't think it was the receivers as much as Foles just not seeing them. Foles was basically locking up. If you watch this game, and I'm going to watch it again, but if you watch, basically every snap, it looks like Foles is just looking at Ertz. And he's just and that's his little safety blanket, and that's the guy he wanted to look at. And by looking at Ertz, it seemed like he didn't want to look at other guys. And he just kept locking onto him, and as the game went on and as it looked like he kept getting a little bit more uncomfortable, he kept looking to Ertz even more. And I don't think it wasn't because the receivers weren't getting open. I'm going to have to watch the All-22, but to basically confirm this. But yeah, I'm curious. I think it was more Foles just locking on to Ertz too much. Long cocks, deep penetration. Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. What did you get for Christmas, Adrian? I really didn't get much. I'm a little bit too old now for Christmas stuff, but I did get a fat head because my other fat head, this guy right here, it's not enough sticky on the back. So Fletcher Cox deep penetration, I need more sticky. But unfortunately, this one's real small, so it's not as big as this one. But I also got a $25 gift card from Philly 500. So thanks, pal. Thanks for that. That's awesome. Philly 500 is the man. So you got me a $25 gift card for Fathead. So I'm gonna get it's an old school Eagles logo. So it's the old school one. So I'm gonna use that as my background. I'm gonna go get that. So I'm too old for Christmas gifts, but Philly 500 did something that was very kind. I really appreciated that. So I hope he's watching. Nice. I got some Beats earphones, $25, and a Taco Bell gift card. So not much more than I got. Adrian, can you sub me? Hey, I did sub you. I did sub you. I got your message. Foles had trouble catching the snap. He dropped it 4 times. All right, I'm glad you brought that up, Coach Doug Peterson, because I forgot to get into this. Jason Kelce had a case of this missed snaps. He wasn't. This was looking like a couple years ago, Jason Kelce with the snaps, because we've been used to his Pro Bowl play this year. He still had a good game, but trouble with the snaps for sure. I got a headache from watching that monstrosity for 3 hours. Yeah, I'm with you, Foolish. It's cool to see the kids get the presents. Absolutely. Ajayi, it's dumb. Get down when you got the first down. Well, that is the thing about Jay Ajayi is he fights for every single inch, and sometimes when you do that, you lose the football. Will you be doing a film study video on this? I will. Maybe that's either going to be like Wednesday or Thursday. And I think Brendan is back, so I'll have him. I was following the game while watching Jumanji at the theaters. It might have been better to watch Jumanji than watch this game. Seeing something about Sidney Jones. Seeing so yeah, so Doug Peterson, from what I understand, hasn't ruled out playing him against the Cowboys. I'm still hesitant about playing him. I don't know if I want him out there. Just play him next year. But I don't know. They might make a decision where they want to play him just to see what he is, and then just still not play him in the playoffs. I wonder if that's what they'll do. I don't know. We'll see. As soon as Ajayi starts to get good momentum, they stop using him. Well, what happened was they used him. They carried the ball 13 times in the first half, and what happened was Oakland they started stacking the box, and they dared Nick Foles to beat them, and Nick Foles could not beat them. And if you see, that's the thing. Like, we can talk about feed Jay Ajayi, and I want to feed Jay Ajayi. Like, trust me, please. Like, don't get it wrong here. Don't get it twisted. But if you have a very conservative game plan now, if Nick Foles doesn't want to throw the ball past 10 yards, and again, this was stuff we were seeing last year with Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson. If this is going to become a concern now, all of a sudden, that conservatism, it favors the defense. And they're just going to stack players in the box because if they don't notice that Doug Peterson or Nick Foles wants to throw something past 10 yards, it makes it easier for the defense and easier to stop Ajayi. Hey, Adrian, you Philly 500, my fellow Eagles fans and Sports Fury are the fucking best. I tell every football sports fan to sub you guys as much. I love holidays to you guys and Eagles Nation. Thanks a lot, Terrence McLean. I will shout you out because that's a great comment. I really appreciate that. Philly 500, man, you know, it's crazy because I noticed him very early on. I knew he was going to be a superstar, and I told him about this, and he thought I was like lying to him. So it's a great story, man. Philly 500 is really taking off, and I'm proud of him. It's awesome. This isn't a coincidence with teams exposing our defensive backs. The Giants did it last week. It's not a coincidence at all. Teams notice that Eagles, they struggle on double moves. And the thing about the sluggo is if you run the sluggo, it doesn't take as much time to materialize as some other shots down the field. So you can get the ball out a little bit quicker, neutralize the pass rush, and the sluggo, you can complete that. So we saw that against Amari Cooper. Should Nick Foles... Dude, the defense played awesome last night. I talked about that in the beginning of the video. The defense was... I didn't have a problem with the defense. The defensive line kind of hit everything. That's what happened. You're so awesome. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm following you. You're cool, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate that. Especially, if Cowboys fans like me, then that's awesome. I actually kind of like that. So I appreciate the comment there, Tony Perry. I try to keep it as unbiased as possible here at the Bitter Birds. Sometimes I sit. See, I say the things that other people don't have the balls to say. I'm not afraid to say it and keep it real. Can Foles play well in the playoffs? Whew. I don't know. I don't know. It's tough right now. If it depends which streaky Nick Foles we get, and I definitely surely don't feel confident after this game, and I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. Like he was awful last night. He was bad, and I am concerned about Nick Foles heading into the playoffs. I want to. I think he needs to play against Dallas. I really do. He was the problem last night. Nick Foles was the problem. When you go 1 of 10 for 10 yards on third down, that's a problem. That's why we follow you, man. Thanks, Tony. FedQ is biased. Sean, stop it. Could Wentz see the game? He was squinting a bit. I did notice that. Is the Bills play a possible miscommunication with the safety? The safety was nowhere near. Is it possible Bills thought he was going to stay back deep? Oh, well, the thing was Rodney McLeod got fooled on the sluggo too because he played the slant. He read, his reaction was on the slant, and he was going to go up and make a tackle, and he didn't, and he bit on the cheese too. So you had Mills and McLeod bite on that double move, and that's why that was a touchdown and got taken to the house. At least that's what I saw initially. We'll see on the tape, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But Adrian, it wasn't just him. The offense as a whole was awful. I thought Nick Foles was like 90% to blame on the offense. Because I thought, again, I will watch the tape and see if I can clarify this, but I thought that some of the wide receivers were getting open and Nick Foles just wasn't locating them. Yeah, Rodney McLeod falling for that was unacceptable. I agree. Don't lay it all on Foles. He does need to play against Cowboys. He always sucked wholly. I don't know, man. I thought Nick Foles was pretty terrible last night. See, I blame Foles and I blame Doug. I think Doug was too conservative. See, I didn't like seeing Doug getting really, really conservative. Because what happened was, like, early on, you could kind of see Foles just wasn't having it. And as the game wore on, the passes got way, way, way more conservative. I didn't like seeing that. This game was on Foles. There we go. I think it was on Foles. It's okay to blame Nick Foles. It's okay. Like I didn't expect him to come in here and beat Carson Wentz. That one interception where it was a quick out to Ertz and overthrown got me so raged at Nick. Yeah, there was another one where was it Nelson cut in front? That was a bad throw. Do you credit the Raiders' interior line for Lynch having a big game or just a bad job on our part stopping the run? I think it's a little bit of both. I like the interior of the Oakland offensive line. I think Gabe Jackson is a stud. But they did have some injuries as well. So I think, the defense, they haven't been tackling as well as they were at the beginning of the season in run defense. And we saw a little bit of this again. Do you think Saints and Rams are trying to calculate what seeds they need in order to have the good fortune of playing the Eagles in the division round? Because Foles looked horrible. Yeah, I don't know if they are or not. I mean, right now it would be what, the Saints are the 4, Carolina's the 5, and Atlanta is the 6. So the Rams would have to lose if they want to get there. Hey, Fed, happy holidays to you and your family. Happy holidays to you as well, Mr. Petros. To everybody. You know, we just had Christmas. Now we're going to have New Year's coming up. So party it up. About the 1 touchdown on Mills, at least he never bit on a double move again that night. That is true. He didn't bite on anything else. Damn, I was hoping you see more read option from Foles last night. Yeah, they didn't really do much of that, did they? Who do you think we will play in the divisional round? I think we're going to play the Saints. Unfortunately, and I don't want to play the Saints, but I think it's going to be the Saints because I think it's looking like it's going to be either Atlanta or Seattle against the Rams. I think it'll be Atlanta. I think Atlanta will beat Carolina at home. I think the Rams will take care of the Falcons, and I think the Saints will beat the Panthers, and we're going to have to play the Saints. And I don't know if we're going to win that game right now. I don't know. Are you scared of the Seahawks? I don't want to play the Seahawks. I don't see the same energy with team anymore. We need the offense, defense, special teams go deep in the playoffs. Lack of consistency scares me to death. Yeah, I just the offense was the big concern last night, obviously. You can't trust the Saints defense completely. Yeah, I guess so. I know they like to bring pressure though, and that's what worries me. You don't think outdoors would affect their game though? I mean, well, the thing about the Saints this year, it's not like Drew Brees is throwing the ball downfield. They are running the ball a lot, and if you're going to be using Alvin Kamara a lot, he doesn't have to run a lot of deep routes to get involved. So it's going to be like screens and stuff from the slot. So I don't think the weather would be that much of a factor. Well, not as much as you might think. I agree. It's definitely okay to put this game on Foles. At the end of the day, it's easy to forget he's a backup quarterback. Yeah, man. I agree. I think we're scared to put the game on Foles because we love him. You know, obviously he's a lovable character, and you know we all love Saint Nick, but he didn't play well last night. I mean, he was 1 of 10 on 3rd down for 10 yards. He couldn't get through his progressions. He struggled with the rush. It's okay to put the blame on him. He didn't play well. Both Keenum and Newton put up less than 200 yards passing and won the game. Goes to show you don't always need quarterback to win, but Foles needs to hit more 3rd down passes to make a playoff run. Yeah, for sure. And, you know, the thing about Foles last week, on 3rd down against the Giants, but 2 of the conversions were passes into the flats. There was one that was a 3rd and 9, and the other one was like a 3rd and 8. And one was a conversion where Ertz actually broke a tackle, and the other one, Jay Ajayi, was left free in the left flat. So if you play like a better defense, that's really 2 of 10 on 3rd down. So I didn't think he was that great on 3rd down last week, and he definitely wasn't great on 3rd down last night. He looked good against the Giants, but their defense is trash. Wait until we verse the Vikings. I completely agree, man. Like that's why I wasn't getting overly excited last week, and that's why I was being harsh on Foles, because I think the Giants are the worst defense in the league. Dak Prescott threw 3 touchdowns against them, and when Dak hasn't played the Giants since Zeke Elliott was suspended, he struggled mightily. You go and get Carson Wentz book because there were no more plays this year and read all about him. It's big, Adrian. Also, would you sign James Harrison? I don't think they're going to sign James Harrison, but I did see something today about he might be going to New England. I wonder if this is the collapse that these Cowboys fans warned us about. I mean, hey, I wouldn't call it a collapse yet. We haven't lost our playoff game now. But is it really a collapse? I mean, you go from an MVP in Carson Wentz to Nick Foles. Like, to think that there wasn't going to be a drop-off was naive. The D gave up 10-3 minus the big play. Yeah, dude, I definitely want to credit the defensive line last night. Defensive line got after Derek Carr. Even though it may not show it in the sack totals, they definitely were getting to him. They're making him get rid of the ball quicker than he wanted to. And Chris Long, playing for free, was the one who was playing the most inspiring football last night. We have to win the divisional round to face the Vikings. Yep. Teams are supposed to be playing their best now. That's what scares me. We're limping into the playoffs. I completely 100% agree with this because I've made this point. The real teams emerge after Thanksgiving, and the way that the Eagles have looked after Thanksgiving is not very encouraging at all. And that is a concern of mine for sure. You know, and if the Eagles draw a bad matchup in the divisional round, I don't know if they're going to win. I don't know. And a concern of mine last week, and something that I was talking about, was with Jim Schwartz, and is he going to be able to make the adjustments? Because we saw last year, later on in the season, the quick passing game. Once Aaron Rodgers came to town, a lot of these teams were using that blueprint, getting ball out quick, neutralizing the pressure, picking on the cornerbacks. And I liked seeing the adjustment that Schwartz made last night, bringing more heat, using Brandon Graham in more on those third down situations as a defensive tackle. So I like seeing – the encouraging part for me was Jim Schwartz is adjusting. I was encouraged by what I saw with him and the defensive line. So maybe the defensive line can do enough to control a game where you're not looking for the offense to put up a bunch of points. So that's how you're going to have to win in the playoffs. The defensive line is straight up going to have to play all out, and they're going to have to control they're going to have to control games to win. Yep. Jim Schwartz did step up his game. Foles played 2 games. Give him a break. He'll be better. How do we know he'll be better, though? How do we know? How do we know? We don't know that. Were you surprised Khalil Mack didn't line up against Vaitai more? Yeah, I mean, I thought he would be on him a lot because they do rotate Mack around. But they did get him on Big V at some points. I'd say try the Sudfeld guy against Cowboys. Why not? Don't you think if he plays even decent, he would be better than garbage Foles? I think Foles is the guy you want to go with. I know we haven't seen Sudfeld, but Foles is the guy you want to go with. We don't, but first-team reps make you better. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I agree. First-team reps will make you better, but I think what's going to make him better is going in the film room and just talking with Doug, because he was locking on the Ertz and he wouldn't lock off of him, and that was my concern. Can you just explain once again why we signed Alshon? So he could score touchdowns, and he has scored touchdowns this season. You think Foles can bounce back? I don't know how to answer that question, because I don't want to give Eagles fans too much hope going into the postseason, but I do think he can play better than he did last night. I mean, last night was about as bad as you're going to get from Nick Foles. I think he can be better than he was last night for sure. Alshon opens up other receivers and is a jump ball threat. Why do you mean why did we sign Alshon? Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, he opens up the field. Um, so the reason why Foles did so well in 2013, I think, is because he was a product of a really good offense. I agree with that. I feel like Nick Foles has like two outlier seasons. You had the season with Chip Kelly, where Chip Kelly was running the NFL, and that scheme of his was receivers were running wide open in that scheme. Nick Foles throws 27 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and then he goes into Jeff Fisher's scheme and he shits the bed. So I feel like we almost don't really know who Nick Foles really is, because we had the one great season and then the one bad season. So I guess he's something in between, but you know. I like cold. I don't like wind. It was ugly for kickers and passers. Yeah, I don't like wind either. Wind is bad because Alshon didn't get the damn ball. So you're questioning why the Eagles signed Alshon because he didn't get the damn ball. You know why he didn't get the damn ball? Because Nick Foles wasn't locating him, man. That's what was going on. Foles does not play with the passion that Wentz does. He's not sharp. He's not strong. He's not fast. He isn't a great passer, and he cannot run. So there. Yeah, man. He's not going to be what Wentz is. You can just hope that we'll see better. He's normally pretty good pre-snap, but he wasn't good pre-snap last night. Didn't Wentz struggle against San Fran? He didn't look like that though. They have to run more and win on first down. Short passes and makeable down and distance required for Foles to have any shot at success. Yeah, and there were even situations where you had a 3rd and 5 and like 3rd and manageable situations, and Nick Foles couldn't get it. My bowling teacher says Wentz should be traded for Andrew Luck, and he would have taken Carson Wentz. He would have took Laramie Tunsil, and he thinks Alshon Jeffrey is overrated. Well, your bowling teacher is an idiot, and you can tell him the bitter bird said that. This is Foles' second game. Would he get this hate if this was the second game of the year? I don't want to make this off. I don't want this to sound like it's hate. It's more like this might just be who Nick Foles is. I mean, like, I think what happened was we saw the 4 touchdowns last week, and we just, we had this assumption that Nick Foles played great. I thought Nick Foles was average to played fine last week. And this week I saw some of the same things last week, but he just didn't throw 4 touchdowns, and he was a lot more inaccurate. Overreaction and lynching of Foles. He's played 2 games. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Have a little hope here, guys. He's had some amazing games as a pro. He just needs to string 3 games. I don't think it's an overreaction. I think I've been pretty spot on what I'm seeing out of Foles. This doesn't mean he can't be better, but I think there are some things that they're going to have to figure out in order to hide some of Foles' weaknesses. And Foles has to get it more accurate too. I mean, it could also be the possibility that this was just a bad game and he'll bounce back, but it's just speculation at this point. Well, the thing that I don't like seeing again is the thing about not going through his reads and missing stuff. That's what I'm worried about. I'm hoping that with maybe with more reps that'll get better, but like I don't know if Nick Foles is going to be ready. I don't know if he's going to get enough reps to be ready for the playoffs. I don't know. My bowling teacher says Carson Wentz is not going to be the same. Dak is better when Zeke is here, and an Eagles fan. Man, your bowling teacher needs to, like, stop being an Eagles fan and just pick another team because he's a freaking idiot. Bro, you're awesome, my man. I love you that you call it as you see it. Full struggle for sure, but I was really relieved to see the D come back. Thanks, Daniel. And, you know, again, that is something I was relieved about was Jim Schwartz and the adjustments he made. See, I was defending Foles from the FedQ attack last week. Now I agree with him. Laughed my ass off. He was right to criticize him, though. I even admitted I was too harsh. I admitted that the day after. You know why I was the reason why I was harsh last week is because I knew what was going to happen. I knew that because he threw 4 touchdowns, Eagles fans were going to overreact, and I knew that. You know, there were things that I saw that needed to get better, and I just wanted to make it known. That's all. Because sometimes, you know, that's the thing that happened during the winning streak too. You know, there's so much great that's happening that you overlook the bad, and it's easy to overlook the bad. And you can't just like overlook things. And I didn't want to overlook some of the things that I saw from Foles. And that was that. Now, today, I've been calmer. I'm trying to be calm here because I'm sure that Nick Foles has been so eviscerated by this point that I don't need to eviscerate him. I can just keep calm about it and just say what I saw. I got to watch the end zone coach's tape to see where Foles' team fell flat. And yes, the bowling coach is a dope. Yes, he is. Foles almost threw a pick against the Giants last week, too. He teaches bowling. He's already a failure. You were too harsh last week. It made you look biased. I would think if I was harsh, it would make me look unbiased, to be honest. Merry Christmas, AF. Merry Christmas to you as well, Eric. My man. D struggled last game. Foles played okay. D played well last night. Foles played like shit. I don't think Dougie P is the problem. The problem is Foles is garbage. I think there was. I think the problem was Foles last night, and then Doug just getting really conservative with him. Pattern yourself after the calm and serene EDP, FedQ. I know EDP and I were texting back and forth last night. He was definitely not happy with the performance, to say the least. Sammy Sleeves has never even played in the playoff game, and Foles has. That is true. That is true. Watch Brian Baldinger. I will watch. I like Baldy's breakdowns. I do think he gets a little carried away sometimes, but I like Baldy. I think it's not Doug or Foles. This is clearly neither team wanting to play on Christmas and taking the Raiders lightly. So, all right, guys. I'm gonna cut this recap. Oh man, damn! I went for 50 minutes. Holy shit. So I'm gonna get out of here. All right. Part of me wanted to see the backup quarterback last night, but sticking with Foles was the right decision. Yeah, they're going to stick with Foles. They're not going to go to Nate Sudfeld. Nate, because you would go through the same thing with Nate Sudfeld. Like, all of a sudden, you'd throw him in. He hasn't had reps with the receivers. I don't think that's a good decision. But, all right. So that's it. I'm going to hop out of here. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed your Christmas. And hopefully, we get some hope heading into the postseason. I hope to see Nick Foles play a little bit against Dallas. But there it is. I'm out of here. Take care.